What is going on, you guys? Today I want to go over another quick video topic talking about why it's important to let the right people know what you're doing and not everyone. So you might have figured this out already, which is good. Um, I've probably learned this the hard way a few times, and I've heard guys like Andrew Huberman talk about it as well. Is basically when you tell everyone what kind of goals or things you're working on, wanting to accomplish, whether you've started or you haven't started yet, a couple things happen. So number one thing that happens at least, is that sometimes you'll get a dopamine hit, like basically like a positive feeling or dopamine hit, just by telling someone about it, and then them saying, "Oh, that sounds awesome, man! Like that sounds like a really great idea. Like definitely get into that. Definitely do that." Like you get a small bit of dopamine from that, and the funny thing is you get the same. It's the same dopamine that you would get from accomplishing the task without having done it, which is dangerous, right? Because if you allow that to affect you, that means you're less likely to actually do the thing after talking about it. So then you become a talker and not a doer. And then that person will probably ask you about it later, and you will like not have done it or have done way less. And it's not going to make sense for why you told them, right? And then a different sort of situation that might happen is you might run into people who are, you could call them, like in your inner circle, right? You could call them like snakes in the grass or crabs in a bucket, right? Like, a crab, if one starts to get out, the others will like pull it down, basically. So you might say like, I'm working on this, or I'm really wanting to start this thing. It's really exciting for me. Like I can't wait to get started. It's been interesting to me for a long time. And then you'll have someone, a friend, that will say, "Oh no, like I don't know, man. Like you're gonna try that? Like yeah, that's really difficult. Or like a lot of people do this and it doesn't work out." Like they're gonna say a bunch of stuff that's gonna discourage you from doing it, or try to tell you not to do it. And what I recommend is not listening to them. Even better, not telling that kind of person. But sometimes you won't know until that happens, that they're that kind of person. And then, not to tell them something in the future, right? So, obviously, the reason that's important is because you might allow that to affect you and your mindset, and you're going to get less steam, like less progress than you would by just having done it without telling them. Or you won't do it because they convinced you. And that might just be, like, that might be something that comes down to, like, mental fortitude, right? Like, it doesn't matter what they say, even if you told them, you're still going to do it. Because that's props for that one, right? Like, I hope that's the one you have, right? Because if you let them discourage you, then it'll be slower progress, or you won't do it because you listen to them, right? And you can't listen to everybody. Right? Oftentimes it's because they don't believe that they can do it. There's some level of envy or jealousy there. And so really, I mean, you're probably going to look back, if you don't do it, later in your life and be like, man, I should have tried that, or I should have done that, or I should have started sooner. I should have not listened to that person, basically, right? And so the importance of this, right? Because you can see the first two examples will kind of like slow you down or stop you potentially, depending on your mindset around it. And you'll get those dopamine hits as if you've already accomplished the task that you haven't done much of or haven't started yet. And then the flip side of this is if you've got someone who's really supportive and can hold you accountable, like somehow you just know, right? Like based on your relationship with them, or maybe they're a new mentor, that they're like the right person to talk about it with, then you can no longer keep it to yourself. Because some people say to keep it to yourself, right? Keep it to yourself until you've been doing it for, I don't know, 30, 40 days or more. Like you've been consistent, and then no one can really knock you off with their words. knock you off the path. Like you're just gonna stay consistent at that point because you've been doing it, and it won't matter what someone else says. Now, there's certain people you can tell that will boost your level of ability to get this done, right? So look out for that kind of person, because that's the kind of person you might want to share it with you, because they might actually have ideas or ways that they can, they can share ideas with you that will be helpful towards that path, or they know someone who does something similar and they can connect you to, right? Or they can encourage you, like maybe they have a bit of knowledge on it themselves, right? Like all these different things, or they just might really be like a very positive person, right? So like they'll be able to hold you accountable and keep you going. And so there's different sorts of people that you want to think about who you're sharing it with, right? And I guess a good point about some of them, right, is like the dopamine hit we were talking about, like getting the validation of someone saying, oh, like that's awesome, man, like you should totally do it. Like that's why it gives you the dopamine, and it feels like you've already done it a little bit, at least to some extent, because you get that dopamine from the validation of it. Now that's completely different, right? If you run into a situation where it's someone who is actually very supportive, will hold you accountable and get you going, right? Like the right kind of like mentor, or like just a close friend. Like it'd probably be the same as like, you have certain friends you might consider close friends, but some of them won't want to tell you like the brutal, honest truth that might hurt you if you're messing up in some area, right? And then you have a really good friend, and you'll know it when they're okay with letting you know about the area that you're messing up in, because of course they don't want to hurt your feelings, but it's more important to them to see you grow and do better than holding back the truth from you, right? So that's almost like the same distinction there, like the people to not tell versus the people to tell. So I hope this helps you in some way, because you might have experiences already, or you might be going through some situation like this, or you'll run into it in the future. And just again, right, like getting the advice from the right people, getting advice from the wrong people that are in a situation you want to be in, deciding, filtering who to listen to, who to not listen to, who to tell, who not to tell, right? Like oftentimes it's better, especially in the age of social media, just to be like doing something and enjoying it and making progress without people knowing until you've been doing it for a while, and they're like, whoa, like when did you start this? Like this is awesome. Like you're really good at this now, or like you made a lot of progress. Like what's going on, right? So like that's what I would recommend. I never really listened to Lil Wayne, but this is a kind of a funny way to end the video. I think he has a song where there's a line in it where it's like, real G's move in silence like lasagna. Kind of a funny line. Maybe he's a lyrical genius. I don't know. But anyways, the point of that message is real G's, right? So the gangsters move in silence like lasagna, right? So do the thing without telling people, and it's cooler. I don't know. Anyways, I hope this video helps you, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. You got this, bro.